is Dr. Flight. I hope you're doing great. I want to welcome you to MBA 631 Marketing Strategy. Looking forward to having this course this term through the next this semester and getting to know you a bit and introducing marketing strategy to you at the MBA level. I had the opportunity to deliver this course a number of years, and I really look forward to really getting into a lot of the theory and the concepts that chief marketing officers would really focus on as they begin to make decisions on like where an organization is going to go, what they're going to do, all through the lens of a marketing perspective. This course integrates with the other courses that you'll take in a MBA program. And it's my goal not to burden you with the day-to-day getting your hands too dirty with marketing, especially if you're not a marketer, but rather think of marketing as a function that organizations use to achieve its overall goals and objectives. And how this function works with other functions and the role it plays is vitally important. We in marketing focus a lot on generating revenue through the way a firm interacts with markets and consumers, and what drives a lot of our decision making deals with profit margin and cash flows that are in the form of products and services, how we manage our brand, the value of the brand, and those types of things, which are all super, super important to the broader sense of the organization. So that's kind of the perspective that I take. My goal here today is to offer you a short video that introduces you to the course, some of the aspects of the nuances like the syllabus and the schedule and some of those logistical elements. Hopefully that will help you navigate the course as we go through the term. As you know, this is an online course, so we don't have a lot of opportunity to see each other face to face. With that said, I'll let you know that if you're ever in the Wall building on campus, I'm in 301D. So Wall 301 is the suite of offices. I'm often here on campus, so I'd love to meet you and get to know you. If that's not a possibility, I understand. You can always email me, and if we want to, we can set up a Zoom call if you'd like to talk about the class. I'm available to do that, so just let me know and we'll absolutely make it happen. So I'm super excited again to have you in class. One other note, there's a face-to-face section of this class that meets on Thursdays. And so what I tend to do is structure the schedule around a Thursday start day, where we introduce a lot of material on Thursdays, or they're available to you anytime, of course. But I tend to start my weeks work-wise on Thursday with new material, and the due dates for things like reflections and things like that tend to be the next week after that Thursday. So you'll see that, for instance, this particular week, we're in week 1. There isn't anything due, and we'll start to have things due next week, though, as we start working through the material. Another way I've designed this particular course in terms of its setup, and this is a little bit of a test. I haven't done this before, but what we'll do over the first 10 weeks or so is really focus on the concepts, the theory, the quote unquote textbook material, and really kind of dive into that. For the last 4 or 5 weeks of the course, we'll do a project where you'll be in a team to produce a new product concept. It has 3 or 4 different stages, and so we'll devote though the last portion of the course, third of the course or so, to that endeavor, and we'll see how that goes. And I think you'll like it. I've always done a project of some type, so the project is something we've done all the time. But structuring it so it's the only thing we're doing the last third of the class is a little bit different. So hopefully this will work. It'll be fun. I think we'll have a good time doing it. I think you'll learn a lot. As with anything, you'll learn more if you invest more time in it. You'll get better at it if you invest more time in it. The more work you put into something, typically the better the outcome is. And so that's true in just about anything, and it's true here as well. So one of the things you'll find in Moodle is there's a lot of material. There's a lot of readings. There's a lot of just things that help support your understanding of the concepts. This would be all material above and beyond whatever the textbook offers. I use the textbook as sort of a baseline of information, but then much of what we talk about or much of what we discuss in the work revolves around the additional readings that are available for each of the content modules, if you will. So if you have Moodle, you'll notice right away there are a few things to look at. And you can use the guide on the left, the toolbar on the left to look at the different tiles or modules. I have it pulled up in such a fashion where I can just simply scroll down. So occasionally I'll send announcements out, usually on a weekly basis or so, just touching base with you on what we're doing in the class. So that should help you stay up to date. We also have in the Start Here area of Moodle, we have our syllabus, and we have a course schedule and the content of the course. These are two very helpful tools. So I strongly encourage you to take a look at those, see what those are all about, make sure you're familiar with those. We'll stay in Moodle here just for a few minutes, and then we'll switch over to the syllabus and look at some other things. But if you continue to look at other areas in the Moodle space, weekly reflections. So these reflections are an application of what you're learning in class to something that's business or organizationally relevant. These tie in theory that we're talking about. They tie in concepts that are in each case leading or cutting edge. Some of these examples are a little dated, but not really very many. They're all very relevant. Everything that we look at is relevant to the world you're involved in today and in the future. So what we do is typically have these due on Tuesdays of the preceding or of the next week. So Tuesday, August 26th, the first reflection is due. And then we have 4 reflections, and then we have a little bit of a break because we have something in between there, and then we have 4 more reflections after that, starting in October, 5 through 8. So 8 total reflections. When you write up a reflection, it's going to be, I'm going to say, at least a page worth of content or material, maybe 2 pages. And it's going to require most likely that you do some additional research with external references above and beyond what you're provided to really understand and really tease out and really focus on those quite a bit. So this first reflection, let's see if I can pull this up. This one deals with Starbucks devaluing of its own brand. This was a story that came out about a year ago. So, and a new CEO was entering the stage at Starbucks, and it talks about how Starbucks sales had declined, how the sense is they sort of lost their purpose or their kind of what they're all about. A lot of it deals with the value that they're delivering, or the lack of value or misaligned values that they send, whether it's like dollars and like money value, or the value of the brand, the concept, what Starbucks means, the personal relationships that they went away from a little bit. There's again the video and the articles talk about some of the issues, and the big question is, if you were the CEO coming in from a marketer's perspective, what's something that you would change? What would you do differently, maybe to reestablish the value of the brand? Okay, so that's reflection number one. Kind of get an idea. You'll always have a prompt, and you'll be able to see what that looks like, and kind of go from there. Okay, so those weekly reflections that we have, and again, there's 8 of those. As we kind of continue down the Moodle space here, we'll just go a little bit further. We'll have 2 opportunities within this early portion, the first 2/3 of the class where we're dealing with content. Have two opportunities, and I call them content reviews. They're kind of like mini tests. They're questions that are associated with the topics in the first 5 chapters of the material, and then a second one that covers the second 5 chapters of the material. These are fairly extensive turn-ins. It's kind of, think of them as like a midterm, two midterm exams, if you will. They're take home, but they're going to be things where you'll have a prompt for each chapter, and a question, and so you want to go back to that material. You want to really know what it's all about, and again, these are going to be 1 to 2 page summaries of each of those prompts. So these are things that you're going to spend a bit of time on. There's things that you're not going to want to. You're going to want to go into depth. You're going to want to apply class material. Those ideas are pretty vital, that you demonstrate to me that you understand and know the topics that we're covering in class pretty well. Okay, so we have content reviews, we have weekly reflections, and then what we're going to have is a project. And we'll talk about the project much later in the course as we get closer to that, but it's a multi-stage project. It's laid out in terms of, it's in Moodle, so if you want to look ahead and review that, you certainly can. But beyond that, in Moodle, what we have, and I'm just scrolling down through the project space, but after that, we have, for each chapter we cover, or each week of material, there are 10 units, if you will, or modules. The very first one is for chapter 1, and it's called Market-Led Strategic Management. And so within each of these, this will be 1 week's worth of material. And we have kind of an overview for each week, or each of these 10 chapters, on what you should be looking for, what you should come away with. I have some questions here at the end that, if you really know the material, then you should be able to answer these questions to the best of your ability. That would be a good review, for instance, if you want to really understand what's going on. We have here again the reflection is for this week, what the reflection is all about. Chapter 1 is in the first content review, so you'll be assessed on your ability to know this material through that. And we have a bunch of different articles in here, and some of these they're all relevant. Some of them we'll talk about a little bit more in detail. But that's kind of the layout and how we'll do this. As you are in this market-led management area or section, you'll see a whole bunch of files. There are videos. So these are videos I've produced, I put together, that these are things that we would do in class, face-to-face. But because we're online, you have them in video form. We have just an overview of what this content is all about this week. Then we have individual videos for the different topics that are involved. We also have some additional readings. Some of these readings, again, are sort of overviews. Others are just kind of clarify or expound on different concepts within the unit, but they all deal with the topic at hand. Okay, so like I said, there's a lot in Moodle. There's a lot of material here. I try to put everything into Moodle from the front end so that you have it available to you. Okay, so jumping into the syllabus, you know how to reach that. You go to Start here in the in Moodle, so you can access the syllabus. Um, this is again the online course. So no face to face, but we do have videos. There'll be an interactive group project and the assessments that we already talked about. Please again, no, just reach out to me if you ever want to meet. I'm happy to. We'll just schedule a time to do that. And then you have the material here. There's a textbook. As I'm making this video, I know there's a little bit of an issue with a back order on the textbook, so I'm going to try to supplement that. I'm going to try to give you pieces of that textbook to get you covered until that back order is updated. Also, there's a couple opportunities. I know not everybody has a business background in the class, and I know not everybody has a strong marketing background. So as we're going through the concepts, if there are things that I mention or say that you don't know about, look them up. Find there are a couple. These are just open access marketing principles textbooks, but if this is all background stuff that would be fundamental, basically, for anybody taking an MBA marketing course. And I just want you to have access to that if you should need it. So it's there. All right, so we have a bunch of course objectives, which you're welcome to look at those, and learning objectives for each student. Please feel free to look at those as you should see fit. When we talk about the assessments, I mentioned this idea of reflections, so you can read a little bit more here in the syllabus about reflections, content reviews, again, why we do them, how we do them, and then the group project. Okay, those are the three sources of assessment that we'll cover this term. We have some grading. So there are 8 reflections, 15 points each, 2 content reviews, 50 points each. Please note the value of these is significantly higher, so you should be putting a lot more work into them. This kind of makes sense. And then we actually have 4 different components to the project. Each component's worth 25 points. So that's the basic kind of array of opportunities to show your knowledge base as we go through the semester. Again, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. The rest of the course policies you're welcome to look at and see as you need. The one I will stop on and mention here is the use of AI generated content. No doubt that AI is helping everybody do a lot of things. However, you can't over rely on AI. It's pretty obvious to me when somebody's using AI. And I may give a warning, but probably not. I'm just not going to give you a very high score if it's clear to me anyways, that you're using AI to write your work for you. You can go into lots of detail as to why it's a bad idea. The biggest one for me is it circumvents your ability to think. If you don't think, you don't grow. And if you're letting a machine think for you, then you're really missing the whole point, and so you don't deserve a grade. That's quite simply the way it is. Don't let AI think for you. Don't let it do the work for you, because again, that doesn't grow you as an intellectual, as a person. You don't get any stronger. And if you're not here for that, then drop out, because there's no reason for you to be here, quite frankly. So in the spirit of learning, then let's be careful of how you address that. Okay, so Yeah, just we'll tackle those issues one on one if we need to throughout the semester, but this is your warning, and it's in the syllabus. So don't be surprised if you're using AI and 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 it becomes an issue. We'll have to deal with that when we get to it. So, disability services, accessibility, ADS, please absolutely reach out to the to our services here on campus. We're here to help. We can make accommodations. So just work with that office, and we'll set up whatever needs are available to help you find success in the course. But otherwise, you can go ahead and again go through this if you wish to do that. Look at the course policies. They're pretty standard across most of the courses here. Each professor has a little bit of a different take on AI usage, so that's why I wanted to emphasize that just a short little bit, and then just make sure you're cool with the grading process. Okay, the last thing that I wanted to pull up here, and again, these documents are found in the Start Here area, so Start Here, and then the syllabus, and then the course content one is the second piece that I wanted to pull up. This is going to look a little mechanical probably. It's a spreadsheet obviously, but we basically go through like before the semester, read the syllabus, look at the schedule. Those have all been available to you for the last week. So those are all there. I'm assuming you've looked at those things already since, again, they've been available to you. First week of class, this date here is really for the face-to-face folks. We meet on the 21st. So so that would be kind of for them, but this is really the first week of material. And we have the dates things are due, the reflections due, the chapter review, the content review is due later in the month. Again, that's chapters 1 through 4. And then in this area tends to be all the material we have available for extra reading beyond chapter 1. Again, these are the things that will support the concepts that we're talking about, and we have different concepts here. But this is the content area that corresponds with Moodle, the very first section of market-led management, market-led strategic management. This is kind of just an overlay of what you'd see. So it's a different view or different look of the content that we're looking at. Anything you see here should mirror fairly accurately what you have in Moodle. And then we can just kind of go through every week. We have a different topic. These topics are substantial. There's a lot of material in each topic or set of topics that we cover. And then that brings us up through the first 10 weeks. October 30th this week here, we're going to take a little bit of a break. We may start introducing the project a little bit, but there'll be a little bit of a pause, and we'll just kind of catch our breaths a little bit, and see where we are. And like I say, this last set of weeks, last 3 or 4 weeks, will tackle a project where each person will be in a small team, and your team is tasked with creating a new product concept that an organization or firm could develop. Okay, so again, a little bit of interactive work, a little bit of teamwork going on there. I think we're going to have a great semester, great term. I look forward to what we can do together. I hope you are going to look forward to it too. I know you will. Again, I can't stress that if you have questions or concerns or whatnot, feel free to reach out. I'll do my best to give some weekly updates just to kind of touch base and see where people are. And so with that though, let me know if you have any questions. Hope you're having a great day, and welcome to the course.